water everywhere. Water we need in every activity almost, and water is present everywhere around us in the form of snow, in the form of water. So in the frozen form it will be in the form of snow or ice. Then in the liquid form it will be in the form of water. Then in the gaseous form it will be in the form of water vapor. Like that, water is present everywhere around us, and we require water for many activities of our life like drinking, bathing, washing, etc. Then if you imagine, if we don't get water, what will happen? There is shortage of water, because nowadays we see in the newspapers, magazines, and we hear in the news that there is water shortage in many parts of the world. So imagine if you could get only a bucket of water in a day for all your activities, then how can we perform all the activities in our daily life with only one bucket of water? It is very difficult, right? Because we need water for bathing, we need for brushing, we need for drinking, then we need for cleaning purpose. So it would be very difficult to live only with a bucket full of water. So we need lots of water for our daily activities, right? So how much water do we actually use? See, what are the various activities for which we use water? Drinking mainly, we drink only pure water, we do not drink salt water. Then for brushing, then for we use water for bathing, washing utensils of the kitchen, then we use water for washing the clothes and cleaning the floor, like mopping the floor, and then we use for any other activities also, like watering the plants, and sometimes many other activities water is required. So if you calculate the water required for all these things, the total amount would give you the total water used in a day by a family. So if you record the amount of water used for all these activities and do the total of that water, that amount will give you the total water used in a day by a family. Suppose if you are a family of 4 and if you measure the water a bucket wise or a mug wise and you calculate the total water required in a day by a family of 4, then that amount will give you the total water used in a day by a family. Clear, right? Suppose if you are measuring this water on a scale of a bucket of water. Suppose if the standard measurement you are taking is a bucket of water. A bucket usually contains 20 liters of water. So if you are measuring on the scale of a bucket of water, the total amount required in a day by a family is the total of these all activities. How much water you require for all these activities in a day by a family of 4 gives you the total water used in a day by a family, and you are calculating on the basis of one bucket of water. Suppose for drinking we need 2 buckets, then brushing we need only 1/4 bucket, like that. Then for bathing 1 bucket, then for washing the utensils 2 or 3 buckets, then for washing the clothes maybe more, 5 to 6 buckets, cleaning the floor only 1 bucket. Then you should total all these buckets of water, then you get specific numbers, like say 20 buckets, 30 buckets. So those 20 or 30 buckets is the total amount of water used in a day by a family of 4, right? So like that we can calculate the amount of water needed by one member of a family in 1 year. This is giving you the measurement for 1 day by a family, but we want the measurement for one member of the family in 1 year. So how can we get this? Is total amount of water required by a family in 1 year we have to calculate. This is for 1 day, right? So for 1 year if you want to calculate, we will multiply this amount with 365, because for 1 day if it is this much, 365 days make 1 year, right? So this amount we will calculate, we will multiply by 365. So that amount will be total amount of water required by a family in 1 year. This amount is multiplied by 365, will give you the total amount of water required by the family in 1 year. Then you have to divide this amount with number of members in the family, say 4 members. Then you get the amount of water needed by one member of the family in 1 year. So this is how it can be calculated on a rough basis. Then what are the all other activities in which we use water? Industries. There are lots of industries around us. For production of industries, for different production processes, they require water. And then not only human beings, plants also require water. How? Plants provide us with the food. In the fields the wheat will be grown, rice will be grown, pulses will be grown, vegetables, fruits will be grown. So for the growth of the plants, water is needed. Again, the clothes we wear, the fabric or the clothes we wear also come from the plants, like cotton fabric and jute fabric are extracted from the plants. So for those purpose also plants has to be grown. Then for the growth of the plants we require water. Same way animals if they have to survive, they also need to drink water daily, and some are aquatic animals which live exclusively in the water. They cannot survive on the land, so they also need water. Like this, water is needed for various daily activities and various living beings on the earth. So till now we have understood that what are the various things for which we use water. But where do this all water come from? We use water for various purposes like bathing, drinking, washing, cleaning utensils, cleaning the floor, etc. So water is required for many purposes and our day-to-day activities. And water is also treated as the basic need of life. Without water we cannot survive. Then we should think, where do this water come from? The water which we use daily in our life. So the major sources of the water are rivers, ponds, springs, wells, hand pumps, lakes, and sometimes you may also say that water we get is from the taps. But from the taps again, where do we get water? From the taps the water is supplied through the pipes, and in the pipes where do we get water from? Either from the rivers or lakes. So indirectly or directly all the water is supplied from the rivers, ponds and lakes only. And sometimes in our houses we dug wells underground. In that time we get water from the wells. Then from the wells the water is pumped through motors. And then we also take deep motor borewells in our house for the purpose of water. So these are the various sources of water. Then if we take the complete earth, then the 2/3 of the earth is completely made up of water. The 70% of the water is usually salty or saline and is usually available in the oceans in the form of either liquid water or in the form of glacier caps, in the form of snows where the water will be frozen. Usually we know Antarctica continent, right? There the water is usually frozen in state. So in that region the water is completely in the form of snow or frozen state. So that is how water is available from freshwater sources, and then sea water or the ocean water is also available. The 70% of the earth is made up of water. In that the drinking water is only 1%. Rest of the water is not suitable for drinking. Suppose some people go for work on the ships and months together to stay on the ships, sailors. Those sailors, if they run out of the drinking water, they will never drink the sea water or the salty water, because it is not suitable for drinking. It contains many salts. They drink only the pure drinking water which they carry from the land. Then have you ever wondered that how does the water on the earth always remain constant? See, oceans account for 70% of the earth's surface, right? And oceans are the major supply of the water for the earth. Agree, right? Oceans supply the major part of the water to the earth. And then how do we get this 1% pure water? From this total 70% of the water, how is the pure water obtained? And how is the water cut? How is the water quantity maintained constant on the earth? So all this we will understand by understanding what is water cycle. So what is water cycle? Water cycle is nothing but the disappearing trick of water. How water disappears and comes back to the surface of the earth. So suppose think this is the surface of the earth. On the surface of the earth we are having many trees, we are having rivers, lakes, oceans, etc. This is the water body, right? Everywhere is the water body. So in the daytime when there is sunlight, so the land and the water gets heated up. There will be all hot air around, right? So in the daytime when there is sunlight, there will be total heated up of the land surface. So when the land surface is heated up, there will be hot air around us. So what happens? The water gets heated up because of the presence of the hot air. Then what happens? As it gets heated up, it rises up. So as it gets heated up, it starts to rising up. That means goes upwards. So this land water gets heated up either in the oceans or maybe in the rivers. It gets heated up and starts to rising up in the sky because it is all hot air present over here. So when it rises up in the sky, the water will turn into water vapor, something called water vapor. That is nothing but the tiny droplets of water. Suppose in a pan if you are boiling water, after some time what happens? You will see small droplets of water in the hot water. Then later, after some time, what happens? The steam comes. That means the water vapor rises up. The water turns into tiny droplets of water called water vapor, and then this water vapor rises up and goes into the sky. So the water vapor is nothing but the tiny droplets of hot water. So this water vapor, when rises up and goes into the sky, the process is known as evaporation. Understood? Water in the form of tiny drops, round tiny drops with the help, due to the presence of sunlight, heat, goes up into the sky and reaches above the sky. So this is nothing but the water vapor or the tiny droplets of water going up into the sky because of the presence of heat, and this process is known as the evaporation. So this happens in the land water or the surface water or the ocean water. Then what happens in plants? How the loss of water is happening? You know, plants make food with the help of sunlight. Photosynthesis happens. Then they make the food. They need some water content also for making the food, and then they store some water in their leaves also. But then after storing also some amount of water gets heated up by the sunlight. Then if there is sunlight in the daytime, the trees with the leaves also contain some amount of water, right? That amount of water will also go up, rise into the sky because of the presence of sunlight and heat. So this method of loss of water from the plants is known as transpiration. So here on the land, the water is being converted into water vapor and rising up in the sky in the form of tiny droplets. With the help of evaporation, water is converted into water vapor rising up into the sky with the help of evaporation. That is loss of water on the earth. The loss of water in the plants, how it is happening? Plants leaves contain some amount of stored water in them. But due to the presence of sunlight or heat, that water will be also evaporated and goes up into the sky in the form of tiny droplets of water. This process of going up of water in the plants is known as transpiration. So water loss occurs in the plants with the help of transpiration. The water content from the leaves rises up and goes into the clouds. Then what happens? As the water rises up and goes into the clouds in the form of water vapor or in the form of water loss by transpiration, here the water is hot. That is why it is evaporating. But after reaching to a certain height, the temperatures cool down. Because you know, as the altitude increases, that means as the height increases, as we go above the earth, the temperatures decrease. So suppose if you are flying in a flight or aeroplane, you always see that it shows the outer temperature will be in -degrees, because as you go up, as the altitude increases, the temperatures decrease. So this water vapor, these tiny droplets of water, as they are going up, after reaching certain height, the temperatures decrease. That means it will be cooler. Then what happens, you know, when it is cooler, these tiny droplets of water float here in the form of clouds. So that is how clouds are formed. Now we shall see how clouds are formed. And one more thing what you observe is, suppose water from the clothes dry up. Whenever we wash clothes and put them in the sunlight outside, the water from the clothes dries up after some time. How? Because of the presence of evaporation. The water from the clothes gets heated up because of the sunlight and goes up into the sky. The water converts into water vapor and goes up into the sky. Thereby the water from the clothes is lost and the clothes dry up because the water evaporates and goes up into the sky. And then suppose some amount of water is spilled on the floor. If you accidentally throw some amount of water on the floor, after some time you see that water also dries up. How? Because of the evaporation. Nothing but the evaporation. The sunlight helps the water to get evaporated because of the presence of heat. Same way, suppose you have taken 2 plates of water. You have taken a plate, you have added 1 glass of water in each plate, and 1 plate you have kept exactly below the sunlight and 1 plate inside your house, that is in the shade. That time what happens, if you observe after half an hour, the amount of water in the plate which was below the sun directly gets dried up. That means the quantity starts reducing. The plate containing water which is directly below the sunlight, this plate starts losing water. That means the quantity of water will be getting decreased.